Minister, you have you're just in charge, made in charge of a new ministry of the government of India on skill development. How important is this issue for India?
Well, it's new in every sense, and this ministry was born the day I was inducted into the Union Council. And I think this was the Prime Minister's dream project, which he has been talking about. And this particular ministry, if I have to explain you further, skill development and entrepreneurship, is primarily to skill the nation. Now, as of now, whatever definition skill had in India, apart from those studying in regular colleges and the universities, uh, today, as far as government of India is concerned, the union government, there are more than 34 ministries and departments in the government of India with more than 70 schemes that is being undertaken by the government of India. So he actually, Prime Minister Mr. Modi wanted to bring it under one umbrella. And what was lagging was standardization of training.
Yeah.
So that was not there. Then what is the QF for that? What's the syllabus or the course curricula? And beyond that, what is the process of assessment? And beyond that, the qualification of the trainers, and subsequently whether it is outcome oriented, whether all this results in employment. Well, we expect to cross this 5% GDP growth to 8%. So as the economy grows, it would require inputs from the industry, and where we are talking about the industrial production of the GDP, which is 12%, to make it to 25%. Productivity can only take place if we have skilled resources manpower.
Yeah.
And in this country, where more than 65% of the population is less than 35, there is a great need to create this manpower or human resource.
In practically, in which sectors of the economy you think the skills are most lacking?
I think some of the sectors are organized, but the major sectors which we are looking forward is, of course, construction, then followed by infrastructure, which is almost linked to each other, textiles, automotives, and tourism. So it's already been mapped which are the sectors which we actually require. India annually would have around 7 million people being added to the workforce, and another 3 million people in the informal sector again. So around 10 million people get added to the workforce. So we are targeting about 50 million people in the next 5 years. Plus, the states have to do it. This is what is the target which is being generally fixed by the central government. But we are planning to come up with a policy, the 2009 policy, which emphasized 500 million people. May today not look very realistic, but nonetheless, we are trying to work out a figure and make it achievable.
Okay. Do you see a role for private sector in this?
Absolutely, a big yes. And there is the structure which is being created. We already have under the ministry the two organizations, NSDA and NSDC, which are the arms of the ministry now to undertake private partnership. And all these sector skill councils, which are being headed by individuals who have excelled in this field, and the stakeholders along with that, with giving it more of a corporate look, where we are appointing CEOs and COOs to run this sector skill councils, where they will align their entire skilling concept to the requirement of the industry, including certification.
Okay. In terms of the investment that's required to skill 50 million people in the next 5 years, how much of that do you see coming from government coffers and how much from private sector?
Well, we have some money. We are already investing some money. But with now private partnership coming into play, and we also have the CSR involved, I think that would be huge. So we'll not just put in 50 million, we'll put it close to about 100 million people, including the states. And that itself is a very ambitious, about 10 crore people every year is itself a very ambitious target. But we think with all the new policies of the government, and where industries are starved of the skilled manpower, resources should not be a problem.
Okay. See, one of the major concerns when we meet CEOs of leading Indian companies, including Indian IT companies, they say most of the people which are which are being churned out today by universities, are really not employable.
That is the biggest challenge today. and employability is rather than degrees which are being churned out from the universities. And even if it is school dropouts, intermediate dropouts, college dropouts, they should be good enough, they should be skilled enough to be employable the moment they come out if they are not going for the higher education. And this is exactly what we are trying to work with.
So how will you also ensure that the quality of education in the existing structure?
Well, there is a small overlapping. Good part of it, which is part of vocational education, is being handled by Ministry of HRD, Human Resource Development, and Ministry of Labour. I think the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has something in mind which synergy has to be created. And since the NSQF, the qualification framework, is the baby of the Ministry of Skill Development, we would be able to standardize it. We would be able to create an institution which takes care of training, trainers, institutions, certification, followed by employability.
Okay. Do you also see a role for foreign countries and notably, let's say, Europe in this?
Well, some of the countries have done exception, like Korea. Korea, for that matter, 96% of the workforce is skilled. Subsequently, is Germany, about 74%. Same is for UK. And I think there would be, Japan is about good 60% of the workforce is skilled. And there are many countries across the world who have built up standards for skill development.
Yeah.
Partnership is a great idea. And because when we are talking about India, we are not talking about the Indian market itself, we are talking about the global market. And keeping that in mind, the resources are for the international community at large.
So how would you go about reaching out to these countries and trying to?
Well, I'm still in the first stage. It's all just been about 50 days ever since I took over as the minister. We're still seeing how to go about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. That's it.